It's a real adventure with twists and turns every day. You never know what you're going to see when you wake up in the morning on your email. As a matter of fact, I got a beautiful, nice email yesterday from Motion Array saying a song was approved that I wasn't sure was going to be approved or not, but it was. And that's about 6 approved over the past month or so. So you never really know how your returns, either returns from the monetarily or returns just from people talking to you and saying hello and libraries getting in touch. You never really know how your returns will equal your investments of money, time, and sweat equity, right? Um, I heard someone say recently, just yesterday actually, if only the music I made would pay for itself, meaning if I could only make what I have invested into it. Now, believe me, I've heard clients say this for decades. I understand this feeling. I know what that feels like. I feel the same way. But the problem is that most of us will put music up and then that's the end of it. There's only so much we can do in stock to get people to download our music and use our music. But a lot of times those clients would not continue the work. They wouldn't market it. They didn't hustle. And especially, this is the biggie, they didn't stick with it. And that's a hard thing to teach. If you don't continually learn, and especially YouTubers who spend their precious composing time here talking on this channel to you people. Yes, I said you people. Well, you won't give if you don't give, or you won't get if you don't give. I guess that's a better way to say it. You have to invest time, money, everything, talent. You just have to invest to get a return. And speaking of the stock market, if you didn't hear, yesterday was my birthday. Hey, my birthday. And I put my already discounted ebook, The Stock Market: Where, Why, and How to Submit Your Music to Stock Music Licensing. I put it on sale for $5.90. So I'll keep it there for the rest of today if you're watching this live today. But probably at midnight tonight, I'm going to take it back up to where it's been price-wise. So make sure you grab that. And I've got a link here for you. I made especially for you. You can get that at makemusicincome.com/stock market. And been changing the site around a little bit, adding some different things. And I got a new licensing book that I'm working on, similar to this book, except it's going to be about sync licensing. And it's not so much a way for you to get to all the libraries. There's other people who have books like that. Clint Music has a book like that. Jesse has a book like that. This is more of a practical book of how I approached getting into sync licensing and how I was able to get into music libraries, and kind of my thoughts about how I think it's best that you make that shift. I'll talk about stock music versus sync licensing in there. Producing quality music for sync licensing, and a bunch of stuff. I've got the outline kind of going. So that book will be coming out soon. But again, if you haven't got the stock market book, get it right here at makemusicincome.com/stock market. All right. Well, let's jump right in today and let's talk about some surprising numbers that I am seeing in what's going on. I tell you what, again, like I've said earlier in this video, it never ceases to amaze me. I mean, it's not a lot of money that we're looking at from stock music a lot of times, especially for me. Now, for other people, it may be a $500 to $1,000 income stream, and for other people that we know, it might be a $2,000 income stream. But for probably most of us, it's probably in the low hundreds of dollars tops. But I just find it kind of fascinating. It's like a hobby that I do to just see how how I will be doing on a not sometimes on a daily basis, but certainly on a monthly basis. As you know, I keep pretty detailed spreadsheets up on all of this kind of stuff, and I'm a nerd like that. It's fun for me to do. And also, as you probably know, I have done an experiment with pricing on especially Pond5 and AudioJungle, but really all libraries. Because if we're thinking in the mindset that motion array gets us perhaps a download of, I don't know, 35 cents tops, if in the 3 and 4 level. So every download is worth 35 cents. And we're happy to get 300, 400 downloads, 500 downloads, and we think, hey, I'll take the 100 to 200 bucks that brings. But my reasoning was, hey, if I'm only going to make 35 cents per download through Motion Array, then maybe I shouldn't be charging $49.95 for songs at Pond5 and AudioJungle. And as both of those have subscription elements to them now, and Pond5's has really come along. We'll talk about that in a minute. But my reasoning was, if I could sell something for $5 on Pond5 and get $2.25 of that, that's 6 to 10 times what I make for a download on Motion Array. Now, I'm not getting as many by far. I mean, we'll go over those numbers here in a minute. But and remember, Pond5 is also moving to a subscription model alongside their song model for now. Who knows how long that'll last. But the other night I was looking at my spreadsheets on these numbers, and I realized something. Combining the sales I have made on Pond5, which from March on have mostly been $5 this year, the income they have sent me also from the subscription side and a few bucks in referrals from my video on Pond5. As of August 19, my earnings on Pond5 are almost at $200 for the year. Now, that's not shockingly high, right? That's not, after 8 months, you would expect more than $200. But let me tell you this, and again, this is for all the things, including their new subscription thing, including the weird way they used to pay it separately, and now they seem to pay it together. I don't know. Mark in the chat or in the notes below if you've been getting separate subscription payments from. I think all subscription payments are now included in the monthly normal fee at Pond5. But while $200 might not sound like a lot of money this year from Pond5, in 2021, with prices in the $40 to $50 range, I only had about 13 downloads for the year, and I made only $170. So I've already made $30 more, and I've got 4.5 months to go here to get to the end of the year. I'm going to make significantly more on Pond5 by using this lower pricing. I'm going to probably have over 100 downloads or more from this versus the 13 that I had all of 2021 in Pond5. So as far as playing the Pond5 game, and that's what all of this has turned out to be, $5 has become, it seems, the price to play on there. Now, I will tell you that sometimes I move things up to $20 for songs during, like my patriotic songs during the patriotic holidays. During Halloween, I will put my Halloween songs up to probably $20. Christmas, same. And so when holidays come along or special times come along where those songs could be used, I will likely increase them, but keep everything else at $5. I just had 3 or 4 sales last night on Pond5 now, and they are also kind of putting them on sale and stuff like that. So it's sometimes less than $5 is what they're selling for. But I think Pond5, or I should say $5 rules in Pond5 in 2022. Now, I know some of you sell for more. I'm going to talk to you in the chat and find out. I want to hear what you're making, those of you in the chat. Also, feel free, if you're watching this later, to put your thoughts in the numbers below, and we'll talk about that. But again, I just have to say that I think this is the way to go right now on Pond5, at least if it is for me. I've looked at other people's channels, and it seems like a lot of them, even those people we know who are full-time or talk about stock licensing, like Daniel and stuff. I see a lot of $5 sales or prices on his library there. So we'll talk about AudioJungle in a minute, but I do want to say one more thing before I get into this, and that is I sent an email into Pond5, and I asked them a pointed question about that. And let me find that. In the meantime, please put any comments in or questions in the chat, and I'll answer them. But I really wanted to read you what Pond5 sent me, which I don't think is much different, likely, than what they say when on their page about how they pay out. But I did ask them if, here's what I asked them. I said, Pond5 video continues to be popular. People on my channel are asking if they still need to email you to be part of the subscription program, or is everyone now a part of it automatically? I said it also seems that the lower pricing $5 is the better strategy these days. Do you have any thoughts on that? I'm not sure they answered that question, but they did say basically that any music, I can't share my screen with you on this particular thing, but they did say any music or sound effects content uploaded will automatically be placed into these top rated subscription plans. And they have 4 types of subscriptions. They have a music subscription, they have a music and sound effects subscription, they have a footage plus subscription, and they have a custom subscription. I'll try to remember to put all that stuff in the notes below. Somebody today on my channel said, yeah, if I had $1 for every time you said you're going to put a link in the thing below, but I really do try. So yeah, they did also went on to say buyers are not required to hold a membership, which means they can still come and buy songs one at a time and that kind of thing. They did say that artists will now be able to see their subscription earnings on the My Financial page. So if you look at your financials, you can see how much you've had in downloads and then how much you've had in subscription earnings. And then they will be paid. They did say there's a small delay between sales. All subscriptions will be paid out on the 15th, blah, blah, blah. So they didn't really say anything about the $5 thing. I mean, they did say regarding the pricing and payout, but they didn't really address what I had asked them. But anyway, let me catch up here on the chat and see what's going on. Thank you for the belated birthday wishes. I appreciate that. Arco says you should do more live videos. It's very fun and interesting. We get to learn in a more interactive way. Well, I kind of have moved this week, and I think this is the way I'm going to keep it, to a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule of videos. And one of those will be live every week, I think. I think it's important to do a video like Wednesday's video, which is very like, hey, everybody wants to know about game music, and it's doing pretty well, that video. And then the podcast video was Monday. Next week, Steve, we won't have a podcast video on Monday, so I'll have 3 videos that I'll be putting out on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. I'm going to try to do it. Today's was supposed to be 11 a.m., but somebody got up a little late. It was me. But yeah, I like doing these lives, and I think it's an important part of this channel and its growth to talk with you guys and gals. And it's just it's a lot of fun for me to have this back and forth. Let's see. JMO said, what has been placement you're most proud of, Eric? Well, I haven't had enough placements to know that yet. I did have one recently on a German TV show about farmers finding wives. It's kind of like The Bachelor except the bachelors are farmers. It's pretty funny. But I had a nice song that I wrote a very long time ago, 22 years ago, that I redid recently for sync licensing when I was getting ready to go into sync licensing. And I'll tell this story in the new ebook. But that's part of that song is now being used in this television show. I don't know when I'll start to see royalties from that, but it's kind of that part is not quite as clean and dry as stock music. You know, with stock, you at least know you're going to get paid and when pretty much the next month. But anyway, Wolfgang says, I changed all my tracks on Pond5 to $5 and the downloads went straight up. No doubt. I did too. Hey, Bruce, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. Arco, yeah, I was exploring game music, but had some confusion about structure. I am inspired by the music of a game called Age of Empires. You know, the easy way is just listen to what Stephen Malin is doing on his game packs. Listen to those songs. He is obviously making a lot of money with this game music. So go and listen to his music for gaming and these packs that he's putting out. And you can go and listen to clips from all of them at any of these stores. And I think you can listen on his site as well. Rhett says, I was added to Pond5 member thing. They started in 2016. There was only a few folks in the program after it started to make me the most money. Cedric said, unfortunately, I'll have to go soon. Well, that's okay, Cedric. You can come back and watch anytime. This is not going anywhere. This will be available for you later, but thank you for being here now. Rona says, I'm still getting paid from Pimp My Ride episodes. Ooh, yeah, reality television seems to be a place where a lot of the sync and licensing stuff goes. A little bit here and there, but it's almost been 20 years. 20 years, folks. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the longevity you've got to have to see some consistency. And anyway, yes, Stephen Malin is the king of gaming music. And if you haven't seen that video, you can find it on my channel. It's Wednesday's video. And we did a really, he's selling a new course. So take that or, leave it however you feel about that kind of thing. But I think there's a lot of nuggets in that video where we compare game music to stock music licensing. We talk about game music and content ID, which is a very sticky subject for gamers and Twitchers and YouTubers who are putting their music and their games that they're making up live on YouTube. So I think it was a really cool interview, and you should go look at that. And there's a lot of fun little snippets in there. All right, well, let's switch here from Pond5. And again, just in case you're late to the party, my surprising numbers from Pond5 is that they have gone up this year by going down. By charging less for my Pond5 songs, I have had probably 4 times the amount of downloads and have made at least $30 more over last year's 12-month total. And here we are only just 19 days into August. And so I definitely think that $5 is the way to play, especially as Pond5 continues to move more towards a subscription kind of world. Now let's switch to AudioJungle. And again, this live is not going to be totally only about stock music, because not everyone is interested in stock music. But because I think some of these numbers that stock is going on and a few things that have happened to me with another stock library, I need to get to these first. But AudioJungle, so far this year, I've made about $100 with AudioJungle in 2022 with 34 downloads at about $9, because you have to add $4 on, or they add $4 on. So my $5 ones, I would average get about $2.25. Again, when you look at Motion Array, where I am, yeah, sure, I'll get 200 or 300 downloads, and that's not many, but I'll get 200, 300, 400 downloads on a Motion Array and make 20-something cents, 30-something cents per download, versus AudioJungle, where I'm still getting a decent download bit, even at the lowest thing I can put the price at. I'm averaging about $3 per song, I think, total. But this one is not going to be like Pond5. It's not going to be way more than what I made in 2021. It's going to be way less. It's only at about $100. Here we are 8 months in, and I made $635 last year on 30 downloads. This year I've made $99 or $100 on 34 downloads. So, and I averaged about $20 per song income. I mean, cleared profit last year. This library, I am going to say at this point, I don't think the $5 thing is something that you should do. I think AudioJungle, the people who shop at AudioJungle are not, they either are not part of Envato Elements, or which is AudioJungle's, which Envato owns AudioJungle, as most of you know. And so AudioJungle likely is still, if it's used by people, it's by people wanting one song. They want a specific song, and all AudioJungles are not in Envato Elements. I want to be clear about that. And so they want to find a certain song, and so AudioJungle is still a place apparently that they will search. Here's what I just did recently this week. I hadn't seen a sale for, gosh, a couple weeks on AudioJungle. I decided to put all the songs back up from $9 to $20. I just put them right at $20, not back up to 40 something dollars, but at $20. And since then, I've had a sale. I like the day after I had a sale at $20. So I think that this particular library is going to be best around the $20 to $30 price point. If you can do more and it works for you on a consistent basis, you're getting weekly or daily downloads from AudioJungle, well, then good for you. Then stay high. But I think for the rest of us, I'm going to suggest $20 right now. Again, it's like the stock market. I feel like I'm giving stock tips. I guess I literally am giving stock tips, but I think it's pretty funny that this market is kind of like this. That we're kind of thinking about this. Listen, Eric, for stock tips on how to make the most money with your stocks. I don't know, but I think that this particular library is best at 20. And since downloads have been so light with any price, doesn't matter, high, low, it doesn't matter. I think having the $20 is the best strategy for now. We'll revisit that soon. But AudioJungle, I'm setting my prices at $20 right now. I'm just going to see how that rides and see how that does. It's not the year it was last year in AudioJungle, because I had things up at high prices. If any of you have things at high prices, low prices, mid prices on AudioJungle, I'd like to hear from you in the comments or hear from you in the chat right now, so we can talk about your experiences on AudioJungle, so people who are watching this video later can let us know what they're having as well. So let's check the chat and see if anybody has any thoughts on AudioJungle. David says, I sell my tracks from $29 on Pond5. They are also under subscription. This year I sold some tracks with normal price and 4 tracks and 0 from subscription. I'd be interested to know how many tracks you have up there. I have about 200 and something, 200 and I guess 20 something tracks. As you know, on Pond5, you can put all of the individual tracks up there. And so I have a lot more up there. Arco said, I still get some money from music I put on Spotify. Okay. Cedric says, for Pond5, I'm really surprised. I lowered my price from 47 to 37 2 days ago, and I made 4 sales at $47, as if my 37 was not active yet. Yes, there's a delay. There's certainly a delay. They did say that in the email that I got back from them. They said specifically that, let's see, where was that? Please note, there is a small delay in the time between the sale and the reported sale on the page. We are working to update this ASAP. So they did tell us that they are literally dealing with a delay between the time that you get the sales and the time you're informed, or vice versa. So just so you know, that is a thing. Cedric says, I also have the feeling that changing prices does something that refreshes somehow your portfolio. It seems like that, doesn't it? It seems like that when you do a price change, like the AudioJungle I was talking about, where I took everything and moved it from $9 up to $20, and boom, next day there was a sale. I guess it's possible, but it seems awfully strange. Mixed Club says, or Rhett says, at one time my prices were $55 a track and sold all the time. Well, sure. Yeah. I think everybody had that going on, especially back 5-10 years ago in the golden age, probably, of stock music, when you could put everything up at $50 and it would just sell. Cedric says, prices at $42 and earnings are fluctuating a lot, from $60 to $150 a month. That's great, Cedric. Wolfgang says, on AudioJungle, I have all tracks at $5, the same as Pond5. The downloads almost stay the same, maybe a bit higher than with higher pricing. Well, I haven't. I tell you, it's slowed down on AudioJungle. When I first started this experiment back in March or April, I think it was March, because I saw like almost zero in January and February, and I know that's a dead time, but I saw nothing. And so I did the big $5 experiment, and we did it here on this channel. And I talked about that. I was taking everything down. And the next few months, it was like off to the races on both Pond5 and AudioJungle at that low prices. But eventually it kind of course corrected on AudioJungle, it seems. And so I'm kind of back up there. But I've changed back and forth on Pond5, and it's definitely a better price position and income strategy for me on Pond5 to do $5. Ronan says, Instagram, when you add new hashtags, it already has a posted picture that it refreshes the same way. Maybe. Cedric says, you might have to take, for AudioJungle, you also have to take into account that the higher the price, the higher your commission in percentage. This is also why I think ultra low prices on AudioJungle is not the best idea, right? Maybe AudioJungle doesn't want to sell low price things because they make less as well. It's something we haven't really talked about, is that maybe the libraries have something to say about this and put the odds more in your favor if they are higher. We'll have to see. I think these numbers are very interesting, how they are playing out. And this year we are seeing some dynamic fluctuations in how stuff is playing out in this particular marketplace, in the stock marketplace. So, it's not my intention on this channel to talk about stock music all the time, but I do find any passive music income, like stock music or like sync licensing or like gaming music, or what's another one? Beats is something I'm about to get into and be reporting on here on this channel. About to do a big experiment with several of the beat stars and things like that, and put beats up. And that is something that all of us may want to look at as a possible other area we haven't really talked about. Some of you are probably in that, but Wolfgang says, sooner or later, I think AudioJungle will be closed and Elements will only be there. Well, that seems to be the writing on the wall, doesn't it? That's what I think. That's what I have thought. Cedric says, I missed the boat for Elements. They did not answer when I sent in my application, and it is closed now. Oh, I didn't even know they had an app. That must have been before my time, that they had an application for Elements. But I just started AudioJungle at the beginning of last year, so a lot of you have been in AudioJungle longer than me. So from what I understand, Elements is still invite only. I don't know if they still invite people or not, but that seems like a little bit like Motion Array. I don't know. Is there anyone in this stream, or if you're watching this video and you are in Envato Elements, I would love to know your numbers monthly. I know Daniel from Stock Music Licensing is in there, and I remember some of his last reports on income there was Motion Array, like I think $200, $300, $400, $500 a month. Would love to know if anybody has heard of anything like that. David says, are they going to bring all AudioJungle authors to Elements? It doesn't seem so, David, but we will see. All right, well, let's move right along. I want to move into the next place I want to talk about, and it is another stock library. I had a very strange thing happen to me. I can't remember if it was this week or last week, but I got an email from of all places, from let's see if I can find it, from DepositPhotos, and talk about a library that I mean, I don't have anything to say. I mean, I've supposedly made $31 on there, but I'm not at the payout level, which I think is 50. But that's over the course of a year and 8 months. And I think I was at $31 when I started this year. And so I made a video at the first of this year saying I'm going to stop some libraries, and one of them was DepositPhotos. As far as uploading new stuff there, and they had the whole thing where they deleted all the files, and files got deleted somehow, and you had to re-upload them. And I was like, I just don't have the time to go back in and reload to a library that doesn't really make me any money anyway. Well, there has been a development with deposit photos on my end anyway, and I'd be interested if anybody else has had this happen to them. But Mariana from Deposit Photos, who says she is an artist curator at Deposit Photos, she says, I came across your portfolio on our stock site. However, you didn't upload your files online for sale, meaning that I had uploaded a bunch and I tagged some, but then I just said, you know what? I'm done. There's just no money happening here. There's no sales happening here. I'm not going to spend the time. And that's been the same for me at Dreams Time. Obviously, Music Grid. Let's not get started on Music Grid, but a bunch of libraries, including Songtradr, which we're going to talk about in a minute, that I've just kind of paused on for now while I've been focused on new incomes like my education income and this channel, which has kind of blown up, and other things that are going on that I'm making income, and SIG licensing and just composing in general, which is my heart. So she says, I came across your portfolio and I would like to mention that your works are very unique and it's exactly what our platform needs to become more popular and diverse, blah, blah, blah. Have you had any problems in the uploading process? And here's where it gets interesting. Our team would like to help you at all stages and offer you our unique services for the full attribution process, or attributing, I guess is what she means, of your files, as you are a very important and talented author for our marketplace. So basically what they volunteered to do was tag anything that I uploaded for me at Deposit Photos, which I think this is very, very interesting. I think a library reaching out, contacting me about my songs. And here's what's funny. She said, we're willing to tag and put descriptions in. And she says, can you send us everything that is in your Pond5 catalog? So they were looking at my Pond5 catalog, which has over 200 songs in it, and wanted as much as Pond5 had, which I'm happy for them to have. Absolutely. Hey, any library that wants to have those 200 files can have them. That is the basis of non-exclusivity. We want those files everywhere. And so I said, fine. And I uploaded everything that I had that I could think of, that I could find, and put it in there. And I've been watching that be disseminated into their library. And as of now, everything, as of this video, this exact video on Deposit Photos, they've got about 41 left to finish. And it looks like there's a bunch that have been rejected. There are some that were rejected because of some kind of release form because they have vocals on them. And everything else that's is just sitting there in the unfinished category, and they are working on that now. They've done a lot. When we started, there was about 80 files. Now I've got 150 files, 55 files online. So I think this is fascinating. I think this is just not hilarious, but interesting that a library like this would come to me and say, hey, we want to get your songs in here. Now, maybe they sent this to everybody. I'd be interested to know if you heard from Deposit Photos in this month at all. And again, that was in the beginning of August 9th is when I got that email. Would love to hear if any of you have. So let's look at the chat here and see if anybody else has any thoughts about Deposit Photos. Ronan says, whoa, Deposit Photos. Wow. This is the first I've heard of anyone getting paid. Now, let's be clear. I haven't been paid. They owe me $31, but you have to, it's a $50 threshold. So I haven't been paid, Ronan. JMO says you should submit directly to music supervisors. You know, that's a whole nother video, JMO, and I'm going to talk about that. I don't disagree with you, but at the same time, I probably am more of a library guy. I think the whole music supervisor / sync agent thing is something that you can play. And if you look at our video with Tamara Bubble, who really talks about that in depth, that's all she does. She runs a sync agency basically, and just that's something that we'll have to revisit. Mixed Club says it would be great for me with my spelling. David says it happened to me the same thing with Deposit Photos. I wrote them back, and that is not worth my time to re-upload everything again. Well, I thought it was relatively easy because I used FTP and I just FTP'd everything to them, so I could just do it in bulk. So it wasn't something that I had to really do anything. Didn't have to do anything, David. All I had to do was FTP all the files to them. They've taken care of the rest. And as far as I'm concerned, that is great. I'll let them do that all day long. Any library that there's Infinity Music is like this as well. I haven't made any money there, but I just put the file up and boom, it's in there. I talked about that in the Yummy video. Same thing with Yummy Sounds. They do all the tagging and description. I love that. I just don't have the time, especially when I can't trust that there's going to be enough money coming back. So I don't really have time to do anything other than Motion Array, Pond5, and AudioJungle. Cedric said, I was paid once in 2021 and once in 2022, $50 each time, but had to re-upload everything. Right. That was the whole deal, Cedric. He just logged in and he's at $41. So Deposit Photos sounds like it could be, maybe it's starting to take things a little bit more seriously for audio people. And so Wolfgang says in 2021, he made about $300 with Deposit Photos. And then most of the files were not there. Like I said, yes, a lot of files. I think they had some kind of system crash where they lost a bunch of files. And maybe they are now reaching out to try to get this music back in the library. David says he was contacted. Cedric says, yes, but uploading 200 files, well, one time, okay, but twice in 1 year. Well, yeah. However, if I'm getting $300 like Wolfgang, like who said that? Wolfgang, I'm going to FTP them back up and say, put descriptions on them. I would assume they're doing what I do. They're going to my Pond5 library and they're copying the title, the description, and the tags, and they're putting it in there. That's all I do when I put anything up. I go use my Pond5 library as my database and just copy and paste everything out of there. Mixed Club, Rhett says, I still recall Pond5 having a lot of growing pains, so I wish them luck for all that. Want to upload. And JMO says, sound like stock is trying to compete with sync libraries who tag everything for you. Maybe, JMO. That's maybe we're starting to see stock libraries try to be more like sync libraries, but I still think they're for very different uses. I think that I don't think that music supervisors are going to go to a Pond5 to find songs for their newest Netflix movie. I think they're going to go directly to higher quality libraries that they trust at BMG or some library that they've been working with versus going to stock sites. Because as you know, it's very hit or miss on those sites. But that's a very good observation, and possibly you might be right about that. All right, now I want to keep this moving and move into something else I want to talk about today, and that is Songtradr. I think Songtradr is something that I've done a video on. I've made quite a bit of money with Songtradr through the years. Let's see if I can. I mean, I've made more than this. If I look back at my numbers, I don't have my numbers up in front of me here, but yeah, I've done pretty well with all of that with Songtradr over the years, hundreds of dollars, sometimes multi-$100 years. I have kind of turned off a lot of things, and this year I made the conscious effort to absolutely not pay them. In other words, I did the free plan instead of the $49 plan. And last year, I had a $49 plan on 2 accounts because in previous years, I had seen that $49 make me $200, $300 or $300 or $400. And so it had absolutely paid for itself. But I decided this year as an experiment, it's a very experimenting year. And to me, to be honest, stock music is just fun to experiment with. It's just like a hobby. Let's see what happens if I do this. Let's see what happens if I upload all these songs back to DepositPhotos and let them tag them. Will that be something? Let's see what happens if I pull all the prices down to $5. Especially with a channel like this, where I can sit here and talk to you guys and let you know what's up and what is happening with with all these experiments. But in last year with Songtradr, I made a profit of $137 in 2021. And remember, I paid $49 twice. So I paid almost $100 and I made $137. That's only $37 profit. This year, as a free member on all, I have 3 accounts. One is my publishing account, one is my licensing Positive Spin account, and then one is my personal one, my name. And this year so far, I've made $88. All of that is profit because I haven't been paying them each one of them. So I am positioned to make more likely, well, certainly make more profit than last year, but maybe as much as I made with them even when I paid them. So now with on free plans, I think I've got to go back. I just had a big month on Songtradr a few months ago, 88 or 80 or $90 from different things that they pay every 6 months or so. They pay monetization of all the different things that you can do on there. And if you go see my Songtradr video, you'll see, just search Songtradr on my site, on my YouTube site, and you'll see the Songtradr video. It's very popular, but they have a lot of different things you can do on there, a lot of different ways you can make money, and a pretty decent distribution program, actually. That's pretty free if you're part of it. And the only thing you lose when you're a free member versus you're a paying member is you get less percentage on things, a slightly less percentage. But as you can see with my income on Songtradr, that has not been a problem for me. I have enjoyed the same advantages of being on there. I don't think much of their briefs really for me personally, and I've not really had any big licenses off of there. But I have had a lot of monetization income from there, payments from TikTok, and we're talking little payments, but they all add up because there's so many of them, and I have a couple hundred songs on there. So I am going to be putting more on there, and kind of Songtradr is a little bit like maybe AudioJungle. It's a little worse than AudioJungle. It's worse than AudioSparks, or about the same as AudioSparks as far as how many pages you have to go through to upload things. Once you get in the groove, as you know, when you're uploading, you can do it pretty fast. But I think I've got to catch Songtradr up on a bunch of stock stuff that I've put out, non-exclusive stuff. I am on a non-exclusive kick this year. Actually, we'll talk about that in just a minute. But Songtradr, I think the way to go is free. If you are paying for Songtradr, you need to go on the free plan and you need to put your stuff up there. But do know that there is some time that you need to go through the 4 or 5 screens of stuff that you have to put on there and tag everything. But I've seen some big success stories on there, and I make money there. I wouldn't say it's in my top 3 or 4. But this year, surprisingly, my top 3 are going to be, looks like Motion Array and likely Content ID. It will be next. And that's what I want to talk about. My other one would be Pond5 to this point, surprisingly. Looks like I'm going to make $300-400, probably $300 on Pond5 over the course of the year. But Content ID has popped up to be my second most income. Right now it's under Pond5, but by the time I get June's payment, and that's just 6 months, I should be sitting at about $200 from Identify, which is not a ton, but if it doubles, we're talking $400 or $500 from Content ID for this year. And so for me, I think that is pretty good. And again, half a year to go. I haven't even seen June's yet. Now, I am a bit lucky in Content ID and Identify in the fact that there is a video that is headed towards 1 million streams that has one of my songs in it. So that has been basically why I've been making any money. Otherwise, I don't think I would have been reporting anything but pennies. I know Steve has reported very low things, but again, it's growing every month. And so we'll have another report on Content ID coming up. Let's get back to Songtradr and talk with anybody using Songtradr on here that wants to talk about Songtradr in the chat. Would love also your comments about Songtradr, and if you are on the free plan or if you are paying them. Let's catch up here. Cedric says, we'll have to investigate, are they Content ID PRO? PRO is no problem. Content ID is no problem. They have their own Content ID thing that you can jump in, as many of these libraries do now. So you can now you can either check Content ID or not. And I had some stuff, I had checked the content ID stuff before Identify and was able to get them to take everything out of there. And so, but yes, you can put content ID stuff and PRO stuff up. That's one of my rules now for any library that I get involved in. All my non-exclusive stuff has to be able to be in a library that allows content ID and PRO. And if you don't, then I'm not going to be interested in you unless it's a specific deal. But I got to be able to put non-exclusive stuff everywhere and anywhere. I'm looking for more non-exclusive sync libraries, to be honest with you, like Crucial Music. I think is a great library. I'm continue to work to try to get songs in there, but it takes a while to get them. Shane Jensen, hey Eric, good morning. Hey Shane, thanks for joining us. What if is the downside of having your music in a number of areas? I don't get why people bag on stock. It seems like the more your music is out there, the more clients. Absolutely agree with you. And I think anybody in stock agrees that one of the reasons we do stock music in the first place is the fact that we can put anything we want anywhere. We don't have to put our music in just in one place. And I am moving, I think, more towards the non-exclusive side. I've got sync agents and libraries and things like that, and motion array. Here's a perfect example. I had, with my exclusive library, I'd signed a deal in perpetuity with a library on some Latin jazz songs. And for whatever reason, they were not being input into the library very quickly. And so I asked my library person there, I said, can I get those songs back? I think I might like to keep all that stuff non-exclusive. And as a matter of fact, all of that particular Latin jazz pop stuff was kind of my personal music brand. It's my personal jazz brand. And so I kind of started feeling like, you know what, I might like, especially since it's not being brought into the library very quickly, I might like to have it back non-exclusive. And then as it happens, the next week, Motion Array puts up a brief looking for this very type of music. And so I got 4 or 5 songs up in that and more songs into Motion Array, which is one of the things I want to do. I believe in putting a lot of things in a lot of places. So dude, Shane, I am absolutely where you are. Everywhere I can put it, I want to put it, including Spotify, including into BeatStars, and including into gaming music. I don't really have the time to do the uploading and stuff into gaming music libraries and things like that, but I certainly am interested and think, yeah, absolutely. The more people who can, more places I can put the music, I'm putting it up there. JMO, Eric could use his publishing company to start a sync library and make $50 from pitching. You know, I think maybe people have mentioned this before, and JMO also says Eric could create and sell jazz loops like Steve does. Yeah, I could do loop packs. As a matter of fact, Steve asked me to do a jazz loop pack for him. But you know, there are just so many hours in the day, especially when I teach now and in the evenings, afternoons and evenings, and I only have so much time, and I want to compose, and I want to do this channel, and I want to do certain things. So I have to choose what I'm going to do, and there's only so much time. Wolfgang says, I'm using Songtradr for distribution only. All other monetization opportunities, I have zero income. Yeah, I have hundreds of files in there, and so I see continued income from their overhead music, from various other things, compilation CDs and different things like that. So again, it's kind of like what Shane said. I put it everywhere and let Songtradr put it everywhere. And so I have a lot up there. And Arco says, I use Songtradr, but it's pretty lengthy to upload. No doubt. It is a little lengthy to upload. Cedric Simon says, content ID plus PRO plus non-exclusive, good rules. Absolutely. Yes. And I think let's talk about non-exclusive for a minute. And if you have anything, let's see if there's anything. Cedric says, bye, we'll watch the show later. Thanks, Cedric, for all the info. Appreciate it. David says, I am on Songtradr and was wondering to opt in for the distribution as well. Is it worthy? Yes, I think it works as good as anything. It's I think, as far as I know, it's kind of a free distributor for you. That will take a little bit of your sales, but So will DistroKid or CD Baby. So Songtradr works. It's a little rough around the edges. It's not like as slick as something like a Muse or DistroKid, but or CD Baby, but it works. And I've made income as much as income as I make from any streaming service through Songtradr. So don't be afraid to use that. So, all right, I want to talk for a minute, and I'll get to the rest of the questions here in a minute, but I want to talk for kind of this last little part of this video about non-exclusivity. Like I said, I wanted to get the songs that I had signed to a library back, and my library was nice enough to say, yes, that's fine. I'm not sure that they get things that they have to supply to their particular people who push their songs out. So sometimes you can get out of things just because you have a good relationship with your library. But in this case, I wanted those songs back in my non-exclusive side, and I think I'm going, especially with holiday music, with my personal music, with music that I think that can be used at different times. I'm starting to see people contact me and say, "Hey, Eric, you got any Christmas songs? Hey, Eric, you got any 4th of July songs? Hey, Eric, you got any of this stuff?" And the people who are contacting me for that are people who are sync agents or libraries, or not necessarily libraries. They might be talking to music supervisors, and they need songs to use. To use them, it's much easier if they are non-exclusive, if they are not in an exclusive deal. Now, I can direct them to where they are in an exclusive library, and they can deal with that library. But for some reason, they don't want to seem to do that. They want me to talk to me and be one stop and just pay me and only work with me. So in that way, JMO, yeah, I am kind of being a publishing company of my own music, but I am not really wanting to do that. I think I'm going to continue to do things for my exclusive library, especially the one that I've seen already. I'm seeing things happen and seeing results in TuneSat and seeing things I haven't seen on my BMI statements yet that much. I don't know if anybody watching had a very good BMI day yesterday or this week, earlier this week, but mine certainly wasn't very impressive. And so, yeah, I think that for me, it's I'm going to concentrate on non-exclusive, and maybe to the point where 80% of my catalog is going to be non-exclusive and ready for any. And as far as I'm concerned, it can go in any stock library. I don't see why not. I mean, I don't think that any person coming to me would know or care that it's in a library, another non-exclusive library. They don't care because they want that song for the use that they need it for right then that day. And I need to be able to say, yes, you can use that. I don't have to check with anybody. I don't have to see if I can get it out of a library deal. It's my possession to use. It might be on Pond5 and it might be on Motion Array, but it will certainly be 100% available for me to do whatever I want with it. And so that's why I think non-exclusivity is a very important part of this. So JMO in the chat says, is there anything to do to help fight the stigma that stock music is low quality and lesser value? Seems like it will always be the case. Well, it's the case because it is. It is lower value. I mean, it is lower quality. I'm not sure it's lesser value. I think it's a better value than paying a large library. But I think that people always think of that, because if you can pay $5 for it to download a song and use it, now studios and music supervisors likely won't do this because they don't want to get into problems with the owner of the song. And so that's why they like to go to libraries that they trust and or writers and or sync agents that they trust, because they know that they're going to have all the legal stuff wrapped up. It's going to be one stop, and they don't have to worry about any repercussions down the road that might make them lose their job, right? So I think that stock music is generally still used for music that is going to be in presentations, that's going to be in YouTube. And I think a lot of times people want to pay less for that, and they want the lesser quality and lesser price. And so it's very important that they have that. So I think that this is not as big a deal as you think it is, as far as I don't know if it's a stigma. I think it's just what it is. It's kind of like The dollar store. You go to the dollar store and you buy stuff at the dollar store. If you don't have dollar stores near you, or I don't know if they have these around the world, but and we used to have dollar movies. Remember dollar movies where they'd have a dollar movie theater and you could just pay $1 and go in. Popcorn was the same price, but the movie was only $1 to get in. It was second run movies. But we also have the dollar store. We have thrift stores. People love these. There's a wide audience for lower cost things. So I'm not so sure that's such a bad thing. Now, here's a good question. JMO says, I was also told to sign up for the MLC. Is it, it's a must. Is it a must? Well, they do collect royalties from all Spotify and streaming sales. They collect the publishing royalties, the performance royalties from this now. And if you want those, and if you have a bunch of stuff out on Spotify and all those kind of things, then the MLC will collect that for you. If you don't have that stuff up there, it's not a must for you. I've made literally dozens of dollars, maybe. I don't know if I've even made $12 from the MLC since signing up with them. It's not much that comes in, maybe $5 or something like that. But I mean, it wouldn't hurt. And certainly you should go ahead and sign up they make you sign up as a publishing on the publishing side, because that's the only part that they're grabbing apparently. Arco says, has anyone tried Centric Music? They are a publishing company and you submit to briefs. I have not. I'll have to look into that. Centric Music. Shane says, sometimes YouTube content gets more play than movies or TV. Seems like greater exposure in certain situations. Could be. Again, the pay is not going to be as great, most likely, unless you have a video that continues to pay. Here's what I think to everyone who is watching right now and thinking about stock music versus sync licensing. And right now where I am in sync licensing is that I am making zero income or pennies, maybe a few pennies on my BMI report so far, versus I'm making $200 to $300 a month on stock music. You know, I have to give the nod to stock and say right now stock is bringing me more than sync. Now I think it's a long-term investment. Sync is the better way to go. But as far as licensing, now that doesn't take in to the whole world that Stephen Malin and I talk about in our video on Wednesday about gaming music. He's made tens of thousands of dollars from this since he started doing these game packs that we talk about in that video. I know that there are people talking about making a lot of money with BeatStars. I heard a stat from the president of BeatStars that at any moment, the 3 to 4 songs in the top 100 of Billboard have been, the tracks have come from BeatStars. So, you know, that whole Beats world, which is basically just tracks. If you've heard me and Clint Music talk about that, a beat on BeatStars is basically just an instrumental track, which is what we're doing for stock and what we're putting out there. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to put all of my non-exclusive stuff out there on there. So I hope that some of the information in this has been helpful to you. I think that the numbers that we see, and then this is just an ongoing thing. That's why I like doing these in the lives, because they're a bit rambly, but there's a lot to talk about, and I think they're pretty interesting. And I love to hear what's happening with you folks. But I think that it's a little bit surprising, and we're in a bit of a market flux of what's going on with stock music. And again, if you haven't got my stock music book, I just want to reiterate to anyone, if you weren't watching earlier, I did put it on sale yesterday for my birthday. It's at $5.90. I'll be putting that back up to its regular price later tonight or midnight tonight or something like that, kind of giving you an extra day, because I wanted to let everybody know during this broadcast that they could get it if they wanted to. But if you have any last questions, I'm going to read them, and then I'm going to get going and moving on with my day. But I did just want to share all this information with you. And JMO says, how much would a Netflix placement pay? Do streaming services pay like TV? They probably pay, yes, they probably pay about the same. By the way, folks, streaming services, the Netflix, Prime, all that kind of stuff overtook cable for the first time this past month in the amount of watch hours. So streaming services are now officially the largest audience out there, with things like Stranger Things and other shows like The Boys and like Umbrella Academy and stuff like that, that is airing on Netflix and Prime and Disney Plus and Hulu are starting to be places where people watch TV exclusively. But to answer your question, I have, who knows? I mean, it could, a placement on any TV show or something like that could be worth thousands or could be worth hundreds. It's hard to know. But they are things that keep paying for a long time as they keep being watched and keep paying later. Signature Music says Centric is amazing, so we should check out Centric Music, it sounds like. Mixed Club, Rhett says, keep it on point. LOL, someone told me that and it works. Absolutely, yeah. I'm trying to keep focused on the things that I talked about in my very first video, and one of those was stock music, and the other one was sync licensing. I also talked about publishing. We're going to be talking more about publishing. I just did my sheet music video, and we'll be talking more about my income with that. So you can see that as one of our recent videos here on the channel. Jamo said, Eric, your music review lives are very helpful. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'm about to I just got a new interface here, and I'm about to bring back music reviews, except I'm going to do it on my composition channel, Hello Composers, because that's really the channel that I want to talk about music making, music composition. I've got a lot of thoughts in my head about reviving that channel. I started it before my teaching job, and then I kind of had to put it on pause a little bit. But I will be doing live music reviews on there for free, and we'll be doing that in this kind of similar type of thing. I don't know what day yet, but that will be coming up in the near future. So watch out that if you haven't subscribed to my other channel, Hello Composers, you can look up that and find that. It's probably at the bottom of my page somewhere on my YouTube site. But yeah, we will be getting back into listening to your compositions on our sister channel, Hello Composers. And so that will be coming back very soon. So thank you for reminding me about that. Yes, I did get the email, Wolfgang, that BMI statements for 2022, for the first quarter of 2022 are available now. Mine were not very, very helpful. I don't want to go look at I already looked at them yesterday, and it's not that exciting. JMO says, you can do super chat like Clint does. Yeah, I'd love to do that. Yeah. Offer people that. I don't know if I need to do that, but I've always been kind of weird about how I'm going to monetize this channel. And so far, I think that's going to be mostly in ebooks and maybe later courses that I write and things like that. So yeah, Arco says, nice to hear about live reviews. Yeah, we'll be back to that very soon. Mixed Club, Rhett, be safe yourself. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks to everybody who's here. I'm going to wrap this up now. If you've got any last questions, I'm going to stop this stream and move on myself. Well, thank you for subscribing to Hello Composers. Thanks. Good to see you here. Thanks to everyone. Nice big crowd today. Really love talking about all these things. Maybe we might have to make Friday, news, licensing or music news Friday or something like that, because I think there's just such interesting things that happen. Sometimes I just have to get on here and talk to you and tell you about the things that I am seeing. And that's been this whole channel. It's the only reason I started it, was not to become the guru of music licensing or anything like that, because I'm certainly not making as much as other people, but at least to just tell you the way I'm doing things and what's working for me. And that's the whole basis of this channel. And I will only try to be who I am, and you should too. Shane said, just bought the book. Looking forward to reading. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate it. Let me know what you think. And thanks to everybody who's bought the book. It's done pretty well. And it's let me know where the interests lie with my list and all that kind of stuff. So I subscribe to a lot of stuff that Graham Cochran talks about and some of my other compatriots in this business. Don't think I'll be doing music packs. I don't think I'll be doing an academy or anything like that. But my goal is just to give great information and just talk to people about our experiences, because I learn as much from you guys as you learn from me. Signature Music, you have a great weekend as well. And everybody, have a great weekend. And thanks so much for hanging out here for this long live. I love doing long form content. I love doing short form as well. I love edited content like my content last week on stuff. And we have new content coming out. I'm going to try to keep things on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. That's my new goal. So, and every one of those I will premiere. If it's not a live video like this one, it will be a premiere where we can sit in the chat and talk to each other and catch up for the premiere of each video. So Arco says you can do some interview of composers making good money from stock in this community. Yeah, that's my goal, is to talk with composers. I have already on the Hello Composers site or channel an interview with Stephen Malin about his composing. So you might want to go look at that. But I'm going to be talking on that channel a lot about how to compose, chords to use if you're working in the key of C. What chords could you use, and what I teach this kind of stuff to students. I know the problems and the question marks they try to get. They just, what chords can I use if I'm in this key? What how do I make a beat? Things like that. Simple stuff. Hello Composers might be teaching. This is not going to be like just for super high-end composers. This is going to be for everyone to learn how to compose better for any reason, for licensing or any kind of thing. So looking forward to that. Now, not going to be a Copeland Academy. I don't think I don't have time for that. But thank you so much, JMO. ISO, thanks for being here. Arco, thanks for being here. Everybody, thanks so much for being here with us today. And we'll talk to you next time, and look forward to seeing you in chats and seeing you on these lives. And also make sure you join our Discord and come over and talk to us there as well. Have a great day, everybody. I'm going to end the chat. We'll see you guys. We're ending. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye.